Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Well, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you'll be listening to. On today's episode, we got a jam-packed episode. We're going to be answering a lot of your questions, but also we're going to be reacting to the Pro Wrestling Illustrated PWI 500. Larson, give me a reaction face. All right, that's like around like, yeah, okay, Chad Gable's at 350. Okay, well, maybe probably should.
Really, is Chad Gable at 350?
I think he's kind of low, yeah. Andre Chase is 500. He's on cable television.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It is interesting.
I mean, Tetsuya Naito's not even on the list, so.
Yeah. Look, we've all had brain farts. We'll talk about the PWI 500 a little bit later. We're also going to talk about Black Adam not wanting to lose to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. We're going to talk about Jade Cargill and what is her debut in WWE going to look like. We might have some details on that. But first, let's talk about merger things and the sad truth of capitalism in America and layoffs here. So
yeah,
Larson,
two companies merge.
Yeah,
makes the executives a ton of money.
Yeah,
and a bunch of people get laid off. It sucks.
It's a sad situation. So
sucks. It is a sad situation. So following the completion of this WWE UFC merger earlier this week, wasn't terribly surprising. It sucks, but it's just the way business is done. Unfortunately. It wasn't surprising to hear that WWE be doing some layoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was firm when an email got out from Nick Khan suggesting those layoffs would happen today, telling everybody, work from home, we'll Zoom you.
Yeah.
And so far, it's been reported that there's been numerous executives that were let go, as reported by PW Insider, several departments within WWE, including WWE Network, podcasting, marketing, and affiliate marketing. Those divisions saw many employees laid off. So House of Wrestling followed up with sources within WWE about whether WWE talent might face some layoffs as well. And they were told, quote, that major cuts are expected to the WWE main roster and NXT brand. We were not explicitly told that the cuts would be coming tomorrow, but we're told that they have been planned for some time. One source we spoke with speculated that Endeavor could lay off a bunch of Stanford employees tomorrow, then wait to release talent at a later date, but that was purely speculation. The reason for pacing them out would be for optics reasons, in order to put time between the bad PR that would come with layoffs and releases. With that said, it is possible that both the employee and talent releases happen tomorrow. So following up on that last bit, PW Insider says this. For those who have asked, we have been told there are no plans for talent cuts today. So this is a little bit after 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific Friday. We're recording this. Today is primarily about cutting employees who would be considered redundant as UFC and WWE's office are combined. The belief amongst those we have spoken with is that the WWE roster, the production team, on-air talents, and those who work with talent, such as producers, coaches, etc., would not be part of today's cuts. And Fightful Sean Ross Sapp tweeted out, quote, I've been asking around, still have not heard anything about on-air talent being cut today. And so far, that's been the case. Hopefully that remains the case. It's a bummer to hear about people losing their jobs and, to hear about numerous departments within the company. A lot of people getting laid off. It sucks. And on top of that, we hear about a bunch of on-air talent, wrestlers, production staff potentially being released. Just period, sucks. And to have that all happen today sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really add anything to that beyond, whoever is being released, good luck to them. And hopefully
Absolutely.
you gotta think, I'd be kind of surprised if they let go, like, for example, any of the writing staff, because like they still need writers and it's not like there's redundancies there. But no. I also understand, I mean, again, we always go back to our own personal experience, having been laid off from Machinima, even though we were doing like the best numbers that we had been.
The best quarter we ever had, yeah.
And the fact that they were unable to monetize that properly to the extent to keep us on ended up being kind of a blessing for us, but no less scary at the time. We were lucky enough to have built up a bit of a friendo fan base, and we were able to pivot here to the Graps. But yeah, hopefully the people that have been laid off will land on their feet. I mean, I would think that for a lot of the employees that have been laid off, these are skills that maybe can translate to a number of other, companies and maybe even industries. And so they'll land on their feet. Okay. Sometimes, hopefully. I mean, just From personal experience, sometimes getting laid off is the best thing that can happen to you. And by the way, we did a video ages ago. The Glassdoor reviews of WWE might be for the best, given some of the reviews there.
Although apparently, after Vince was when he was gone for that little bit, apparently morale, like in the office, was like way better. But of course, he's back. So who knows if morale's still high, if it's the toxic environment that it seemed to be according to those Glassdoor reviews.
Yeah, right. Let's talk about this. So, following a report from Fightful Select, which stated that Jade Cargill is likely done with All Elite Wrestling and headed to WWE, there had been some conflicting rumors as to whether she'd go to NXT or to main roster. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer himself, suggested that he thinks it could be the latter. This is what he said. Jade Cargill is believed to be WWE bound as her contract is expiring and the two sides didn't come to terms on a money figure for a new deal. Those in WWE believed she was coming and that it would be on the main roster rather than developmental, but I could see that going either way. Another person in WWE described it to us as that her name was being talked about a lot, but the deal was not completed at press time. One person in WWE described this as coming out of the blue, but that they do expect her to be coming in. Yeah. I mean, look, man, we talked about this at length yesterday.
Yeah.
I hope in this case the Observer is observing correctly, because I think that a big debut on main roster can be everything. And a debut in NXT, I feel like, unless it was a scenario you painted yesterday where she comes in, beats Becky Lynch, and then shows up on main roster with the NXT title, I think that could be kind of cool. But unless it's that, anything less is just doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, I know. It's got to be impactful. It's got to be huge. I saw someone on Twitter mention, I don't remember who it was, that they announced recently, NXT did, that they're having a women's breakout tournament.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, you win that, you get a title opportunity. So I guess they could have Jade debut in that. That would motivate the match with Becky, and she could beat Becky for the belt. But then the question is, what's next?
Yeah.
You know, I feel like her debut has to be super impactful. That's why I don't know if like showing up, being announced for a tournament, and then winning the tournament is necessarily as impactful as it could be, like, say, debuting at the Rumble or debuting on an episode of SmackDown to confront Io Sky or Charlotte.
Yeah.
You know, like that feels really impactful.
I think the Charlotte thing would be the best, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're sort of digging yourself into a hole if she immediately goes and confronts the women's champion. Charlotte at this point is like kind of above titles. You know, it's like she's won it so many times.
Yeah.
That if they just give, you could even do maybe the Cody treatment. Well, Mania's a long way off. Never mind. That'd be sort of silly. I'll be honest with you, I don't even like her debuting at the Rumble, because unless she wins it, she's going to be eliminated. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. There's a number of ways, but yeah, show up on Fox like a big star, and you're off to the races. They should be doing that. They should be doing that kind of thing a lot more. If you want somebody to come off as like, oh my gosh, this person is
a huge superstar. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, breakout. She already broke out. She done broke out in AEW.
Yeah.
She don't need to be in a breakout tournament. Yeah, that's sort of beneath her too. So
yeah,
that's
speaking of huge superstars. Let's talk Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Yeah.
So he was on the Pat McAfee show today, Friday, and during his appearance, he confirmed that he was in fact slated to take on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39. Of course, it didn't happen. And he also left the door open for a bout against the Tribal Chief next year, WrestleMania in Philadelphia. So these transcripts come to you from Wrestling Observer. This is what Dwayne had to say. Quote, beginning of 2022, Nick Khan, who we know, very good friend for years, he's the man. He's very instrumental in bringing Vince and I together. We all flew to L.A. We met, we sat, we started talking about the potential of what this match could be between myself and Roman Reigns, headlining WrestleMania at SoFi. And we shook hands, and we hugged right there, all three of us at the table, and said, let's do this.
Ooh.
So then we had a year to really think about this. The North Star thought. I've never heard of that phrase before. Have you?
No, but I'm going to use it from now on.
It's a good phrase.
It is a good phrase.
I guess it's the guiding thought. I guess was
right. It's where you're. It's what leading you. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, let's not do something good. Let's do something great. Let's do something unprecedented. We can have the match, but the bigger thought was, what can we do for the fans of this business that we love, where WrestleMania isn't the end of something, it's actually the beginning of something. What could that be, Steve?
Well, he says the beginning of something bigger.
Oh, sorry.
The beginning, so bigger than WrestleMania. So one of several things. Around this time, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he was trying to basically take the reins of power of the DC universe.
Let's see what you did there, reins.
Yeah, I'm very clever.
Yeah,
it wasn't even intentional. So he was really trying to make a power play for, and you know, I'm not even being cynical about it. The guy really did seem to embrace, you know, the DC properties and the Black Adam thing, and he was doing a ton of shit to promote it. You know, he's a really good businessman, and he was trying to make, you know, the most of this opportunity. He was going to bring Henry Cavill back as Superman. It was a whole thing. He was going to take what Zack Snyder had set up and then run with it, with like D-level villain Black Adam, historically speaking, at the fore. But he was going to try to take this, you know, this property, this Black Adam property, which really was not a major DC property, and turn it into something huge. Yeah. You know, and the DC comics were sort of following suit. They were turning Black Adam into a big thing. So all the synergies were there. And then somehow, some way, well, because the Black Adam movie just completely flopped, largely because you would think superhero fatigue, and that movie did not take advantage of what The Rock brought to the table. Honestly, if they had slotted in Rock for Shazam instead of Zachary Levi or Levy or whatever his name is, Levy, I guess, I think that would have been a much better sort of situation for him, but whatever. And it feels like maybe as part of the marketing, like what he felt was maybe like the marketing apparatus of this power play would have been a WrestleMania appearance where he beat Roman Reigns, because you know that's where he was going with this.
Yes, that's when I read this quote, I was like, oh, he wanted to win. He wanted to beat Roman.
Yeah, yeah.
So he continues. We'll get to the rest of this quote. We can dissect this a bit more. Dwayne continues. We got really, really close, but we couldn't actually nail what that thing was. So essentially, he said, I want to win, and they pushed back. So we decided to put our pencils down. Then we agreed, hey, listen, hey. There's a merger coming up. Eventually, that will happen. There's WrestleMania in Philadelphia. I'm saying there's a potential to. I'm open. But again, let's figure out what that is, because the fans deserve something just incredible and unprecedented. And not only that, but I also want to deliver to the locker room and the boys and the girls back there who are working their asses off. You know, you can deliver, Dwayne. You can lose to Roman.
You can deliver a fat L.
I know. What can we do to put them in a position where they are part of something that is a new change or era in this world of pro wrestling? Was he gonna main event WrestleMania with Roman, beat him, and then cast a bunch of wrestlers in his DC universe?
So there was that rumor floating around. I think it was from Better Wrestling Experience. Yeah, that there was like a bunch of sort of opinions and ideas on the table post merger for like a complete realignment.
Like new WWE titles and trios belts and weight divisions and all that stuff.
Right, exactly, which I think is stupid. But but I don't know. Maybe he's thinking, maybe everybody there is thinking, you know, let's really sort of see if we can change things and modernize pro wrestling a little bit. And I'm not even saying that that's like, oh, that's a great idea. It sounds like what somebody would do if they have, you know, a lot more money coming in, new opportunity. Let's symbolize that by shuffling the decks a little bit.
Well, also, I guess if the idea, as was stated, you know, along with the announcement of the merger, if they want a lot more crossover between fans of USC and of WWE, if they have, you know, like analogous weight divisions, between the two companies, you know, make them seem, outside of having the wrestling matches in an octagon and them being real fights, you know, have as many similarities as the two companies as possible in hopes that there'll be more crossover amongst the fan bases.
But I don't know, man. Maybe it's a situation where, look, obviously The Rock. Here's a little anecdote for you, right? A month ago or so, maybe 2 months ago, Alabama brought me into her summertime school class thing, or the teachers there, to give a presentation about how to YouTube. Because kids love YouTube and kids love streaming and that kind of stuff. So I go in there, and Lacey had already given a presentation on how to jewelry, right? And the kids loved it because she put out all these stones and all these pieces, and it was all great. And then I was like, oh, hey, kids, you guys like YouTube. And so I explained what I did. And I was like, so I have a podcast. I do a show, a YouTube channel about, and this is the age range is like from like kindergarten to like fourth grade.
Yeah.
And I was like, about pro wrestling. Does anybody know what the WWE is? Not a single kid raised their hands. And I said, okay, do you know what pro wrestling is? Nobody knew. I said, do you know who Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is? There was a couple people who raised their hands. Oddly enough, I said, does anybody know who John Cena is? Every kid knew exactly who John Cena was. So still, to this day, his Q score with kids has got to be pretty high. And so maybe, just maybe, The Rock felt that not only could he be the face of the DC universe as a way to cross-pollinate, cross-promote, he could reassert himself as the face of WWE, as their top champion, and whatever business opportunities, because there's got to be a ton of sort of business potential there that can enrich himself, increase his own brand, increase the brand of WWE. But like, I wonder if just nobody could figure out exactly how best to mesh that concept with Roman Reigns is like their Bruno right now. And how do you do both those things at the same time? Because it's sort of dropping all that for The Rock is a big risk.
It's a massive
huge
gamble.
Risk.
Massive gamble. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know for the longest time, The Rock was amongst the highest earning actors in all of Hollywood.
Yeah.
He's had a bit of a rough patch recently with his movies, with his TV shows. Are these Ballers even on? Or did that get canceled?
Oh, I haven't heard about that in a while.
I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah.
Young Rock got canceled.
You
mentioned Black Adam. That didn't really do much at the box office. He went back to the Fast and Furious franchise to try to recapture some of that magic after having that fallout with Vin Diesel. And here we are, a few months from WrestleMania next year, where he probably doesn't have the same leverage he did 2 years ago in 2022 when he's pitching this whole idea. So if his idea is, I want to beat Roman, we're going to do all sorts of cross-marketing stuff, potential where it could elevate WWE, elevate Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, hopefully elevate Roman Reigns, it's just not there at this juncture.
Right. Yeah.
It's not. And so, I mean, if they're going back to the drawing board and saying, all right, how are we going to make this match more than just what it seemingly should be, a passing of the torch from The Rock to Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Which it's simple. Sometimes you just need the simple story. Just tell the simple story. Anyways.
Well, I wonder if, maybe he saw the success of the Cena series and was like, let's do that with Roman. Like, I dethrone him for the year. I'm your guy. I'm your champion for a year. And then Roman comes back and he dethrones me. And then we go, we just repeat. We just, rinse and repeat. Maybe that was sort of one of his North Star ideas. I don't know. But yeah, that's a big gamble. Like, they're in the middle of this story right now. It's like, dude, we're bringing you in to lose. Like, this is our guy right now. We want him to get to the Rock level, but like, we're not going to get there right now by you beating him. That's not going to.
No, at all. If anything, it'll go the opposite way.
Yeah. I mean, look, I feel like there's probably, I don't know. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how this iteration of Roman Reigns loses to the Rock. I don't know how you do that unless the bloodline turns on Roman, joins Rock, and then you have sort of a double turn there where the Rock is this, egomaniac. But I kind of just feel like the dude just didn't want. I honestly wonder if, because do you ever hear the story about how, like, in the Fast and Furious franchise, the agents of all the actors had to sort out how many punches were thrown, who got hit this number of times to make sure nobody, it was 50-50. Nobody was made to look worse than the other guy. I think it was Statham, Vin Diesel, and The Rock.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that level of intricacy with, okay, I'm not going to take any losses as the character in Fast and Furious. I don't know the name because I've never seen those movies. Or as Black Adam, I'm not going to take any L's there. And I'm not going to take any L's as like the person Dwayne The Rock Johnson at WrestleMania, because we're in the middle of this thing and it's all synergy. And Vince is like, God damn it, pal, you're giving me a headache. Just take the L. We'll wonk the finish. Jey Uso will give you a super kick.
I know. Solo come out and hit you with the spike. Done.
Right, exactly.
And then you can have a match with Solo down the line. You could beat him. There you go. You get your win, Dwayne.
I do wonder, though, if maybe the ambition was there, but it's just sometimes it's just too much and it gets too complex. And it's like, look, this is a big idea, but it's too big for our company right now. We're just trying to tell our pro wrestling stories.
Yeah, it could be. You know, I had a thought, just a bit of a sidetrack before we move on, about aligning the divisions between UFC and WWE. What if that meant UFC started doing tag team fights, trios fights?
Oh, I would die for trios fights. That would be, you and I have seen so much of that team MMA stuff.
Yeah.
It's great. It's awesome.
I
think they should do that. I think that'd be amazing. Because it's like as soon as one guy goes down, it's over. And you and then they just swarm. And those fools have to be like, oh, crap, I got two people at the same time. What's this guy doing?
Yeah, exactly.
He gets nailed out of nowhere. They got to do that shit, man.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. Anyways, before we keep going here, let's go ahead and pay some bills. What do you say?
Let's do it. Let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Steve. Hey.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey. Football is back in full swing with another week of epic games, and who's got you covered on the action for every single one of them? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets.
And get this, Larson.
What?
Nobody is missing out on the action this season because all customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game this September.
So get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code RAW to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code RAW. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
And this episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp, Steve. Don't know if this happens to you, but as long as I can remember, I've had a hard time quieting down this brain of mine. Quieting it down long enough so I can get some sleep. It keeps me up is what I'm saying. It became a major problem. I started dealing with severe anxiety about 20 years ago or so.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm sure you know this now, man, but one way to quiet those racing thoughts is to talk your way through them, and therapy gives you an opportunity to do that so you can get out of those negative thought cycles and find some peace.
You're right. And back in my 20s, as mentioned, when my anxiety got really bad, I made the realization that I had to go to therapy. And it took me a couple of tries to find someone I felt comfortable talking to, but once I did, I was able to learn the tools I needed to better cope with my anxiety.
And if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's completely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. All you got to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched up with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge.
So get a break from your thoughts with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
All right, man. It's that time of year again, Larson.
Oh, I love this time of year.
I love this time of year because, you know, as two guys who cut their teeth, established their careers doing lists.
Correct.
Man, PWI 500 has dropped the ultimate list. Well, unless you're a fan of Tetsuya Naito, the ultimate list for excellence in pro wrestling from like summer to summertime, because that's when they're
like July to June.
I think it's like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. Like June 30th to July 1st.
That sounds about right.
It's just one day. No, it'd be July 1st.
Yes, whatever.
It'd be July 1st
on that day.
It'd be July 1st to June 30th. I think that's what it is. That makes it
from one year to the next. Yeah. So yeah, the PWI 500 was released yesterday. Seth freaking Rollins topped the list for the third time in his career.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations, Architect, and his former Shield stablemates, Roman Reigns, and good job, Visionary, Revolutionary, and John Moxley. Roman and John Moxley rounded out the top three. Here's the full top 10.
Hey, wait a second. Don't those three guys have something in common?
Yeah, I mentioned they were all the Shield. I mentioned
Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Ligma, D's.
There you go. Shield. So here's the full top 10. Of course, you got Seth, number one. Roman Reigns, 2. John Moxley, 3. Gunther, number 4. El Hijo del Vikingo at number 5.
Okay.
MJF at 6.
Okay.
Kazuchika Okada at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Orange Cassidy at 8. Josh Alexander at 9 and Cody Rhodes at 10. I have a question.
Yes, what is your question, sir?
How is Will Ospreay not in the top 10? How is he not in the top 5?
Didn't he lose to Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom?
He did.
Because, okay, so to clarify, this is a kayfabe list.
It's heavy on kayfabe, yes.
Yeah, so it's like, number one, you have to have been, that's why Cody's at number 10.
But hold on. Okada, he lost the title at Wrestle Kingdom, after Wrestle Kingdom.
No, it was because we watched Wrestle Kingdom. He didn't lose it until after Wrestle Kingdom.
It was after, but still in the period, so he lost. Cody didn't win any titles during the period.
Okada was, and dude, I'm gonna do what I can here. Cody, I'll be honest with you. Cody was gone half of this window. And then after that, he beat a bunch of people. Like, they lined up people for him in terms of, like, Raw matches, like Finn Balor. Dudes like the Damian Priest.
Lost to Brock once.
He lost to Brock once. He lost famously at WrestleMania. So, I'll be honest with you. I don't know that Cody Rhodes, as much as this pains me to say, I don't know if he should be in the top 10. I really don't.
Will Ospreay should be there instead.
Will Ospreay was like 17. I mean, I don't know what his, he was low. Yeah,
I'm not even like a massive Will Ospreay fan, but he is continually putting on some of the best matches in the world.
Yeah, but work rate does not apply to this list.
Let me finish. Wins the vast majority of them. Reclaimed the U.S. title at Forbidden Door, which I know is right at the very end of their evaluation window. But he held the U.S. title before Kenny beat him at a Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
So early in the evaluation window. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There might have been, I don't know how many losses, like the G1 is during this period of time. And I know he had a good G1. But he didn't, did he win? He didn't.
No, the G1 started in July. So it would have been after the evaluation period.
But there would have been a G1 in this evaluation period. It would have been the previous G1.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It would have been the previous G1 because they do those every year.
Yeah, they do.
So yeah, let me take a look at some of the other, because I had a.
Who else is the top 20? Do you have the top 20 in front of you?
Yeah. I got it right here. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to go down to number 30.
All right.
So this is interesting. Matt Cardona is number 31.
That's interesting.
Jay White's 32, so he's below Matt Cardona. Kiyomiya is 29. Hangman Adam Page is 28, even though he didn't really have a great. That wasn't a great period for him.
No.
Hiromu Takahashi is 27. Drew McIntyre is 26. Kenny Omega is 25. He did a lot of trio stuff. or a lot of like group stuff. And then he was gone for like that period after the Brawl Out thing.
Brawl Out, yeah.
Chris Jericho's 24. Jake Lee is 23. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are 21 and 22. Trey Miguel is number 20. He won a lot as X Division. I mean, that's one thing, like waiting AAA, Impact, WWE, and AEW seems to be sort of a wonky thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like Josh Alexander was like the longest running Impact champion. And I mean, I forget exactly when he lost it. He didn't even lose it. Didn't he like get injured and had to vacate?
He got injured, yeah.
I mean, he had a lot of matches, including like a 1 hour match against Mike Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like he probably, like, if all things are equal, he probably should be a lot higher. Bobby Lashley's 20. Alexander Hammerstone, who I think became MLW champion during this time.
I think so.
Then Will Ospreay 17. Danielson's 16. Masha Slamovich is 15, which is interesting because it's really light on women, this list.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe is 14. Carmelo Hayes jumped from like the 70s last year to 13 this year, which is awesome for him. Interestingly, Claudio Castagnoli is number 12. IWGP champion Sonata is at 11, and then you have the top 10 there. So
interesting.
So yeah, there's a lot going on here. There is.
You know, we talked about this briefly as we were finishing up playing basketball today.
Yeah.
And I suggested we should do a going in Raw, not 500. That's too many.
I don't know 500 wrestlers.
Yeah, maybe if I really sat down and thought like for
here's
a week.
The thing. There's a lot of people on this list I do not know. Like I'm going to go down. I'll go down to 500 here really quick, and I'll just say, do you know these people? Do you know Big Dust?
No.
Great name though.
Fantastic name. And
there's another wrestler on here who has like an even better name. It's Corn Dog.
I heard about Corn Dog. I saw Corn Dog on the list. What a great name.
A.K. Willis, Aiden Rex. Check out this name. It's great. Anastasia Morningstar.
What a great name.
Stan Styles. Austin Luke.
No, I don't know. I haven't heard any of these wrestlers. Sorry.
Johnny Robbie.
Anyways, I suggested we do our own top 10, top 20, top 25 wrestler list. And you're like, we should have the random window too. And I have it. I have the window.
Okay. Oh, yeah. We need the window. Yeah.
I have it, though.
The evaluation period.
September 26th.
Okay, yeah. When we started.
Is the anniversary of the start of Going in Raw, I believe.
Okay. Yes.
Somewhere around there. That's the start of the evaluation window. It goes till September 25th the following year.
I like it. That's only 10 days away.
10 days away. So we could do our own Going in Raw 25 if we wanted to.
I think we should do that. Yeah. You expanded it to 25.
Sure.
I would be okay doing 100.
Well, we only have 10 days to do it. That seems like a lot of work in 10 days.
I know. Okay, but here's their evaluation period ended in July. They're not putting this out on the day. They're waiting like 2 months to do this.
Fair enough.
So yeah, George South is on the list. He's old.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Hey, is Early Morning Guy Steele on there?
Probably.
What about Rob Shit?
No, Rob Shit.
Alpha Zoe's on the list.
He is at 480. That's awesome for him. The West Coast indie scene is really well represented. Titus Alexander's like 125 or something.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
Titus is really good. Alpha Zoe is awesome. Much higher. Should be much higher.
Oh, he'll get there. He'll get there.
Yeah.
He'll totally get there. But yeah, the West Coast was really well represented. I was bummed out though. I didn't see Cal on here. Yeah, no Cal. Cal, he's been doing really well out there. He's the H champion.
He is. You
know, but yeah, Chad Gable's 338.
That's
he's
so
just
weird.
above. He's just above Matt Taven.
Wasn't Chad Gable a tag champ in the evaluation period, or
Probably.
the tag title reign precede this evaluation period? Maybe it preceded it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they were Alpha Academy was tag champs when RK Bro was still a team.
Yeah.
They were feuding with them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all weird.
Maybe it was after that. Anyways, you want to answer some questions, Steve?
Obviously.
Well, start putting together your top 100. Start thinking it over, and I'll do the same.
So, like, I just have to think of every wrestler I know because I'm pretty sure
Virtually.
I just know like 100 wrestlers.
Yeah.
I don't have enough space up in this COVID brain.
No, same here. Same here.
Anyways, first up, Dave Matushak says, if Jade were to go to WWE into the main roster, who should her first opponent be? Charlotte.
Yeah,
Charlotte.
1,000% Charlotte. That makes all the sense. You know, you get her a strong win immediately. Charlotte is, what, a 15-time champion?
You know what?
Depending if they count the NXT title range or not. What? Yes.
Let me say this. Actually, let me say this. I'm going to backtrack here. I'm going to say Bayley. Bayley right now is kind of in a feud with Charlotte. Number one, Bayley
Shotzi too.
Yeah. So maybe Charlotte sees that the numbers are overwhelming her. She's like making a bunch of enemies. Jade comes to her rescue. Jade versus Bayley. Maybe like Jade, like to start her off like in a tag situation. Jade and Charlotte versus like Bayley and I don't know, Io or somebody at Survivor Series. They do a thing, right?
Okay.
And then that leads to Jade versus Charlotte. Maybe even at WrestleMania. I mean, you got to extend that out a little bit. But you do that as a Mania match. She's like, hey, Charlotte, the real reason exposed. The real reason why I have been helping you because I want to fight you.
Because I want to defeat you.
Because you're the mountain that I got to climb.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's got to be the story. Is like she makes her debut. I want to take on Charlotte and beat her.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's the quickest way to establish myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Just a Hippo here asks, Jade Cargill comes to WWE. Who would you like her first feud to be with? I guess it's kind of the same question as before.
Yeah.
Just a Hippo suggests Bianca or Bayley.
There you go.
Justin Sider says, start a new faction with Jade as a leader. Who is in it? At least a singles and a tag team. How about this?
Yeah.
How about they start Jade debuts and it's almost kind of like an NWO thing.
Ooh.
Where they acknowledged that she was a champion in a former company.
Mm-hmm,
so you get her. I think Deonna Purrazzo's contract is running up soon.
Whoa. Yeah. That's good.
You get prominent or former women's champions from other companies to form a faction together to invade WWE. That's what you do.
That'd be cool. I like that.
Have Kyrie in it too.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, Kyrie. Yeah, I like that. Camille. Bring Camille over from the NWA. Yeah. That'd be cool. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Yeah. Alex Foster says, hypothetically, if Jay and Cody were the last people in the Rumble, but a botch happened and Jay won, how would you proceed?
You say, Jay, they'd write some Jay would like, I don't want to wait till WrestleMania. I want to take on Roman right now.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then they have that match. He loses.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so bad. That makes zero sense.
That would be really bad, yeah. And then Cody would have to win the Elimination Chamber to get the Roman shot.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I guess with the Rumble, now that there's two champions, you just have Jay go, it wouldn't make any sense.
Oof.
I want to take on whoever's World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I could see Jay being like, man, I don't want to deal with the bloodline. I quit WWE, so I don't have to deal with the bloodline. Yeah. There's actually a kayfabe reason for that. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. Mr. Sinister says, do you guys think CM Punk should or shouldn't have returned after Brawl Out? If not, where would AEW be in the present? Would Tony Khan have made Collision? Also, would have Punk gone to a different promotion, i.e. WWE, if he still had the wrestling itch? I believe I stated my opinion pretty clearly after Brawl Out. Should not have brought him back. I'm not even talking about the fight.
Yeah.
What he did at that media scrum was fireable by itself.
Yeah, right.
Going off on, and I'm not saying this as in any way to excuse, anything that the EVPs may or may not have done. I'm not talking about that. And maybe CM Punk tried to address these things backstage at some point. Don't know. It's unprofessional how he went off on everybody, on Paige, on the EVPs, on Tony Khan, and it embarrassed the company. He buried the company that employs him with his media scrum performance there. That alone, I'd be like, all right, we're like cutting ties. Bye.
It's wrestling. That shit happens all the time. Nobody cared, but nobody watched that media scrum. Listen, he came back, and in the period of 2 months, he wrestled 10 matches. And there was a bunch of tag matches and stuff like that. I'll be honest with you. You know what you're dealing with CM. You know what you're getting into with CM Punk. And it was probably not a great idea to think that it could be managed because clearly it only took 2 months and it couldn't be managed. So yeah, you're right. They probably just should have been like, we're not gonna do this. So yeah, it was poor. it was a bad idea to try to split the rosters to keep people apart because there are so many alliances anyways, and you can't really split it down those lines.
Nope.
That being said, as strictly a fan of pro wrestling and watching Collision, I enjoyed the work that he put in on Collision. I liked the Real World's Championship stuff, which evidently is now obviously, I mean, it's sort of obvious, but then there was the report that came out. Actually, no, that was withdrawn by Fightful. Sean said that shouldn't have actually come out, the Real World's Championship. There was like a weird, it's like sub-story on one of the Fightful Select stories that said the Real World's Championship angle has been dropped. Which clearly it has been, but I think Sean wanted to get more like verification on that. Gotcha. And then he tweeted out that, because I think Cultaholic had like made a story into it. And then Sean was like, no, that should not have gone out because it landed in one of the other stories. Like there was a blurb about it.
Maybe it was like the select portions where it's just kind of like.
That could be. He says, I don't know. He was like, this was in the drafts because I was working on it, but I never finished it, and it should never have gone out.
Gotcha.
I think that's what I saw anyways. But it seemed clear that with CM Punk gone, the Real World Championship is gone. So, I mean, it's kind of obvious.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But I liked it. I like the spray painting the X on the title. You know, if it's just, hey, I don't give a shit what's going on backstage. I just want to see cool shit happen on my TV. For 2 months, he kind of accomplished that for this guy YP I've been pretty critical about CM Punk because it seems like the guy just can't get over himself. But that being said, that's a YP, not an MP. I just, you know, that part of me just cares about what I see on the TV. And I think that was for a lot of people as well. They were like, oh man, I just want to see my CM Punk on the TV.
I want to ask you something. I want to ask you what you thought of CM Punk's blading technique.
Oh my God, it was so violent.
I was not expecting the stabbing in the head to be so violent. I thought it was like they take the razor blade to go to the hairline and just do that real quickly. But he was
I know.
Jabbing it in there.
That was crazy, dude.
The craziest part is like you see for a moment he has a thing and he does this.
Yeah.
Like he's steeling himself to get ready to start jabbing himself in the head.
And like he sort of like shouts something or grunts something as he does each one. He's like,
yeah.
Oh man. He's like, fuck you, Jack Perry, fuck you, Jack Perry, fuck you, Jack Perry.
Oh, it's tough, man. That looked like it was miserable.
Yeah. You know what, man? I think it was cool that somebody recorded that. I know.
I think so too, because you hear about it, and sometimes people are just like, just do it in plain sight. But it's cool to see, you know, him do it under the announce table and his approach to doing it. I thought it was pretty fascinating.
Gosh, yeah, that was violent, dude. Wow.
I was not expecting to be so violent though.
No way.
Luis here asks, who are the most prestigious / acclaimed listings of or rankings of wrestlers? Who do you hold in the highest regard? And let's say outside of the Going in Raw 100, because that hasn't been announced yet.
So if Dave Meltzer ever put together like a top 20 most like influential, historically speaking, like going back to 1925 or whatever,
yeah,
I would probably take that into account more than anybody else. And I think that would be the most interesting list I would want to see from him because he is such a historian.
It's a good answer. Good answer. Do you think our rankings would be held in such high esteem by others?
You know, I don't know when we're going to retire from this. I would like to think that by the time we retire, maybe that's one thing we'll hold on to is we retire the show. We're, you know, somehow we're like millionaires or whatever. And like Sirius XM buys our buys our IP for $1 million. Anyways, we retire. And maybe
retirement, we continue the ranking list annually.
Maybe like, yeah, we'll just have like a blog.
There we go.
We'll just sit there and type our rankings.
There we go.
Yeah, our star ratings. Yeah.
Blake Whitehouse here asks, if Jordan Grace signed with WWE over Impact, what would her ceiling have been? Top.
Oh yeah,
she's amazing.
No, she's great. God dang it! I mean, it is what it is. It's high. It's like it's
perennial champion. Yeah. Perennial main eventer.
Yeah.
Gosh, she's so good.
I think she could be up there with Rhea Ripley.
Absolutely.
Because Rhea and Bianca are gonna be the two like fucking biggest things, you know.
Yeah. Alexander Cross here says WWE's YouTube had an interview with the wrestler formerly known as Pete Dunne. Apparently, he and Tyler Bate be having a match next week, which has convinced me to actually watch NXT next week. What matchups on a card could convince you to watch an episode of a show you don't normally watch? As a bonus, what matchups would convince you to watch a pay-per-view? Remember when Penta was Impact champion for like a day?
Yeah, right. I remember that.
And I was like, oh, they had put the belt on Penta. I'm gonna start watching Impact, but it's like his next match he lost it. And I'm like, gosh darn it, Impact's gonna Impact.
You know what's horrible? The one thing that I think would bring both of us back to Impact was if Honor No More.
Honor No More, yeah.
Yeah, it's Honor No More. Or maybe if Impact brought back Rob Van Dam with Katie Forbes.
Maybe. What if CM Punk goes to Impact? Will we watch Impact then?
Yeah.
We'd have to at least start watching it again.
Yeah, we would. We would. Yeah, we totally would.
How long do you think that would last?
Weeks.
Yeah.
It'd be weeks.
One set of tapings, huh?
I like CM Punk, but I also like Speedball. I like the Motor City Machine Guns are like everything now. Like the Saban just won the X Division title.
Yeah. Yeah, for the 10th time.
And what's his face? Shelley is the main champion.
Yeah,
that's cool for them.
Yeah, it is cool. Mikey here asks, I guess we didn't really answer that question as far as what match would make you want to watch a show or pay-per-view.
Man, I don't know, because Impact has like bomb-ass matches all the time, and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool, and then I just don't watch it.
I know, there's only so much time to dedicate watching wrestling.
Like all the good people are like in the big companies, so I don't know. Like I'm trying to think. Okay, is there anybody in New Japan? I don't know. If AEW sent somebody really good, like if they did like Eddie Kingston versus, I don't know, who do I like in New Japan? Because I don't watch New Japan anymore. Like
you want Eddie Kingston versus Evil? That's what you're talking about.
I could be convinced to watch Eddie Kingston versus Okada in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom. I'd watch Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah,
I watch that anyways.
Watch Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I usually watch that anyways.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Mikey here asks, if you could rewatch one match without knowing the finish, what match would you choose?
If I could rewatch one match,
you forget the finish. So
Survivor Series '97
for the first time. Oh,
Survivor Series '97.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I text you like, what the fuck happened with this match? You're like, it's a Montreal screw job. I'm like, yeah, I know, but who is it? Blake Whitehouse? Who was it?
Mikey.
Mikey. I was Mikey. It was like Mikey put a hex on me, so I couldn't remember this match.
It's like, what happened with Montreal screw job?
Yeah. You're like, Brett went to WCW, a broken man, and the Mr. McMahon character was born. What's that?
How can you not remember that? I mean, you watched all that Attitude Era stuff with Mr. McMahon.
Damn you, Mikey. I've forgotten everything since 1997.
Mikey. Maybe that first Okada Omega match, because that was thrilling. First time watching that.
The very first Wrestle Kingdom that I watched, yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd watch that. That's a good one.
Shelby here says, hey guys, with all the tribalism concerning AEW versus WWE, I was wondering if you think it's fair to say that there's a ceiling for AEW's success. With WWE having large sponsorships with mainstream companies that AEW seems uninterested in pursuing, the differing of fan bases between a more casual fan and a hardcore fan, does it seem likely that AEW's success will be limited by their style of product or lack of willingness to enter more mainstream market?
Ooh, what a good detailed question.
It is.
God.
So, I mean, I don't know if AEW is uninterested in pursuing the larger sponsorships. I'm sure they love to have the larger sponsorships. They're not the brand name professional wrestling. That's WWE. WWE
Right,
seemingly
yeah.
can probably get first pick
Yeah.
on sponsorships, whereas I think a lot of AEWs are like integrations with Warner Brothers Discovery properties.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Which is, that's their broadcast partner. Makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't see a sponsored match with Cinnamon Toast Crunch happening in AEW anytime soon.
Right,
Shark Week, yes.
Karate fighters, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's in terms of sponsorship opportunities, that's more the deal. Is you got limited advertising dollars to spend. You want to spend those monies on in a place that's going to get a maximum number of eyeballs to see that sponsorship. And WB gets more eyeballs in their product than AEW does.
Okay, so then the question is, so I think you're right, but if the question is what is AEW ceiling, as long
about 860,000 viewers,
yeah, as long as Tony Khan continues to be closed-minded about what AEW should be.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's his company. He could do whatever the fuck he wants to do with it. But yeah, you're not going to get Cinnamon Toast Crunch anytime soon. They absolutely could. If he changes up his philosophy on what AEW is, but then like, and I don't even think, here's the thing, I don't even think the AEW fan base would leave if he added a couple things, but kept like at its core what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like he stopped building it. He just sort of has gone on autopilot.
Yeah.
For what it is. And it is what it is. I feel like that's probably going to lead to attrition more than anything. I think that it's going to start, falling off.
That'd be a rationale or a reason why they have stopped growing. They usually get 850 to maybe 900, close to 900,000 viewers a week because it's a very specific thing and it's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah. And look, I'm not saying he should try to appeal to everybody. You can't be for everybody necessarily, but he's cutting out some significant demographics that could help build his company. Mm-hmm. Look, I said this from day one of Dynamite. Successfully booking compelling weekly television is not easy. I mean, if you just think about what it entails, that shit is not easy at all. But like, yeah, I mean, it's AEW is going to be Tony Khan. I don't think Tony Khan is necessarily interested. And maybe this is a good thing for people who think this is a good thing. Tony Khan's not necessarily, I don't think he's necessarily interested in making it. It's weird because you'd think he would be interested in making it like the most value, like of building it up. I know Forbes valued it like $2 billion. I think that's a bit much, but what do I know? I'm an idiot. But I don't know that he's interested in building it to maximize the value of the company. It does. Sometimes it kind of feels like a hobby. It
does, but then he does something like bring in CM Punk, which you think, hey, I'm going to do this to bring more eyeballs, to maximize the value.
He does that because he just loves. He did that because he loves CM Punk.
Yeah, he did love CM Punk. But calling him as plus Delta and all that, he drives so much, so many dollars in business based on various metrics.
Sure, yeah.
Part of that, yes, I'm sure he was a massive CM Punk fan.
Yeah.
But I also think a lot of that is like, if I sign CM Punk, that's going to be huge for the business of AEW, bringing in new viewers, people who like CM Punk in his Ring of Honor, WB days, whatever. They'll tune in to see what Phil's doing now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It didn't exactly pan out completely, but there was a bump in the ratings for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think what you're mentioning feeds into what I'm saying too, because as mentioned, if Tony Khan's not interested in changing up what AEW is to expand their viewer base, if they stay in the 800,000s for their viewers, they're not going to have access to the same level of sponsorships that WWE has.
Yeah. In which case there is a ceiling. But I do think that the brand is strong enough. I mean, they just drew between 72 and 82,000, depending on whatever figure you want to believe. Is it silly to you that people are so stuck on that fucking number? Like, I get it.
It's a huge crowd, is massive success for the company for that day. What does it matter?
I get it, because the only thing that I really understand about it is like, is it a record or isn't it? But like, you'll never know. Never know. You will never ever know.
For various outlets, various people have talked about how particular Tony Khan was about making sure that every ticket sold was accurately counted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's not to say they actually, didn't sell almost 82,000 tickets. Just apparently 9,000 people who buy a ticket didn't show up.
Right.
Because the turnstile count is the number of people who actually walk literally through the turnstile. I don't even know if they have turnstiles or had their ticket scanned or whatever,
Yeah.
So I don't know what the usual percentage is of people who buy tickets who don't end up showing up.
So again, this was a Twitter thing.
Yeah.
But I've read it's between like 7 and 9%, which is I think I'm sorry, between 7 and 11%, which is around
that's within the window then, yeah.
Which is
almost pretty
normal-ish. Yeah, I would think.
Yeah.
But again, who knows? I figure, look, they convinced enough people they broke the record. As far as I'm concerned, they broke the fucking record. Because here's the thing: next year, guess what? WWE's going to try and break that record.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they won't in Philadelphia, but they will somewhere else. I don't think Philadelphia, the Lincoln Financial Field's large enough to challenge that. But yeah, they'll try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
they'll try for sure.
Yeah.
They'll have a event at like University of Michigan Stadium, which for football holds 100,000 people, or
yeah,
larger
exactly.
college football stadiums or something like that.
Yeah, and then like the kayfabe number will be like 110, but like they'll leak out the actual number to Meltzer or some
Tickets sold 95, turnstile count 82, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, that's gonna do it for the show today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you around.
Goodbye.